Okay, listen. In yesterday's class, we completed definition of service, and in any indirect tax that could be, please concentrate. In any indirect tax that could be excise duty or customs duty or service tax or sales tax. First, we need to know three things: levy, point of payment, and collection. Levy, point of payment, and then collection. Just listen. These are the three aspects which we need to learn in any indirect tax. Levy is the time at which duty liability is attached. Levy is the time at which duty liability is attached. Point of payment is the time at which such duty liability is computed. And collection is the time at which or on or before of which the duty shall be discharged. Means you have to make the payment of duty. In other words, collection is the due date of payment of duty or tax. Let's try to understand this with the help of one example which you would have seen in our real life. You will be taking a post-paid connection. Say any network, paid, not free one, paid one. And when you take a post-paid connection, from day one you have the liability to pay bill, correct or not? From day one you have the liability to pay bill, but you don't know the amount of the bill. Will you agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Today I have taken, today is 9th March, 10th March. 10th March I have taken, and from today onwards I have the liability, but I don't know how much amount I need to pay. It all depends on my usage in the subsequent period. Understood? Say month end is the billing cycle. Month end is the billing cycle. And then what is this month end? 31st of March. For these 22 days, whatever I am going to use, for these 22 days, I need to pay the bill amount, correct or not? So when will I know how much I need to pay? 31st of March. Am I required to pay immediately on 31st of March? 31st of March. So I have to make payment by the end of 31st of March? Not necessary. I have a due date. Means they will give me some 10 days time. So by 10th of April, you make the payment. Understood or not? So this is known as levy, point of payment, and collection. When there is levy? Today itself. On the date when I started using, there is levy. When there is point of payment, the day on which such amount is computed. When it is computed? 31st of March. Collection is the due date of discharge of that liability. What is the due date of discharge of such liability? 10th of April. You understood or not? So like that, even in case of taxes or duties also, at one time there will be levy. Means liability is there, but you don't know the amount of liability. Point of payment. Point of payment is the day when you ascertain that this is the amount I need to pay. Collection is the day when you are making payment. Once you make payment, you are relieved from the burden of that liability. Understood or not? Still, another way in which we will learn this, there is a small cage. Cage is there. Inside that cage, there is a mischievous monkey sitting. Okay. And you are taking the keys and you are opening the cage. As when you open the cage, the monkey will jump on your head. You could not understand what you need to do. Someone told you, give banana to that monkey, it will go back. So you gave banana to it and it went. It came down and it went into the cage. So this monkey is duty or tax liability. Got it? This monkey is duty or tax liability. The day when you open the cage is known as levy. Knowing that you need to give banana to it is point of payment. Once you give banana, the liability is coming out. Understood or not? Clear? So levy is what? The time at which liability is attached. Point of payment is what? The time at which liability is computed. Then collection is what? The time at which duty or tax or this liability is payable. Understood or not? Or due date on or before which we need to discharge the payment of duty or tax. Clear now? In case of service tax, levy we have seen. Where levy is in section 66B. Point of payment we need to know, that is in point of taxation rules 2011. Collection is given in rule 6 of service tax rules 1994. Got it? So this is the next area of our discussion. Clear? Levy versus point of payment versus collection. Give that heading. Levy versus levy versus point of payment versus collection. Levy is what? Point of time at which liability is attached. What is point of payment? Point of time at which liability is computed. Point collection means point of time at which liability is discharged. In other words, collection is what? Due date of payment of duty or tax. Due date of payment of duty or tax. Due date of payment of duty or tax. Now, levy under service tax is given in section 66B, which says 4 basic conditions must be satisfied. 4 basic conditions must be satisfied. What are those 4 basic conditions? Service, that is activity, consideration, should not be negative list, should be provided in taxable territory. Activity, consideration, should not be in negative list, provided where taxable territory. Then point of payment is given in point of taxation rules. Point of taxation rules 2011, that we will discuss now. Then collection is given in rule 6 of service tax rules 1994. Rule 6 of service tax rules 1994. So 3 things you need to remember here. Levy is in section 66B. Point of payment is in point of taxation rules 2011. Collection is in rule 6 of service tax rules 1994. Let's try to understand this collection, that is due date of payment of service tax. Clear up? This due date of payment of service tax, it depends upon 2 categories of people. It depends upon two categories of people. Individual HUF, firm including LLP, and then one person company, OPC, one person company having turnover during previous year less than or equals to rupees 50 lakhs, then they are required to pay service tax on a quarterly basis. Quarterly payment of ST. Quarterly payment of service tax. For others, it is monthly payment of service tax. OPC means one person company. Individual, HUF, firm including LLP, and one person company having turnover during previous year not exceeding 50 lakhs, less than or equals to 50 lakhs, they are required to pay service tax on a monthly basis or quarterly basis or half yearly or yearly? Quarterly basis, quarterly payment of service tax. In case of others, who are others? Other than these people, means that includes AOP, BOI, public limited company, private limited company, body corporate, government, central government, state government, union territory, local authority, everyone, every other person is required to pay service tax on a monthly basis. Only these people are required to pay service tax on a quarterly basis. Now, there is an individual whose turnover during previous year is 80 lakhs. Quarterly payment or monthly payment? Quarterly. Individual quarterly. So don't apply this having turnover during previous year less than or equals to 50 lakhs to individual HUF. This having turnover during previous year less than or equals to 50 lakhs is applicable to whom? Only to a one person company. Understood or not? Not applicable to firm or LLP or individual or HUF. This point is applicable only to one person company. So therefore, if there is a one person company having a turnover not exceeding 50 lakhs during the previous year, they need to pay service tax this year on what basis? This is the first year for which they started business. One person company started business of providing service only in this year. Previous year their turnover will be 0. They are required to pay service tax on a quarterly basis, on monthly basis, quarterly basis. Previous year it is 80 lakhs. They are required to pay service tax on a monthly basis or quarterly basis, monthly basis, because it exceeded 50 lakhs. You understood or not? Next. So who are the four categories of people who are required to pay service tax on a quarterly basis? Can you tell me? Individual, HUF, firm including LLP. What is LLP means? Limited liability partnership firm. Then one person company, but one person company has got a condition: turnover during previous year should not exceed 50 lakhs. Then quarterly payment. When it is quarterly payment, how many quarters for one full? 4. You know that, right? So below that write down quarterly payment. What is the first quarter? April to June. April to June. You are CPT student only, no? Year means what? April to June is the first quarter. For the first quarter, what is the due date? 6th of the month following the quarter. Means April, May, June. 6th of July is the due date. Means 3 months liability you can accumulate when you have to make payment by 6th of July. The benefit is day 1 also you will collect service tax from customer. Next day 2, day 3, like that. For how many months you will collect service tax from the customer? 3 months that you can accumulate and you can pay it by 6th of July. Tell me what is the advantage here? Interest here. You are collecting service tax. Are you required to pay today itself? No. That you can accumulate, you can keep it. When you need to discharge that? After 3 months, that is 6th of the month following every quarter, which means you can do it for rotation in your business, correct or not? Say for example, 10 lakhs is the value of services. 10 lakhs services means how much you will be collecting from the customer? Definitely 11 lakh 50,000. Logic? 10 lakhs into 15% equals to 1 lakh 50,000. 15% is the rate of service tax, which means not only the 10 lakhs, even additional income of 1 lakh 50 you are getting, correct or not? What you can do with that 1 lakh 50,000 rupees? You can use it in your business. Understood? But only thing you have to pay it by 6th of July. So therefore you can use that. What if, sir, I am paying after due date? What if I am paying after due date? No penalty. No penalty. Interest is payable. And what is the rate of interest? 15% per annum. Simple interest you need to pay. Not even compounding interest. So PTR, that's it. So principal into time into rate. 15% is the rate of interest. What is the principle here? Tax not paid. Tax not paid. For how many days? It could be more than 365 days also. Very simple. For example, 500 days delay means 500 divided by 365. You understood or not? Or 2 years means into 2 into 15%. Not even compounding. Now tell me, as a accountant, you need to speak now. Is it beneficial not to pay service tax collected to government? Tell me how. What is the borrowal rate today? 18%. 1.5 rupee interest. 1.5 rupee interest means 18% is the borrowal rate. Overdrafts and all is at the rate of 18%. Need to know some general knowledge also, not always bookish knowledge. Clear or not? Not always coming to classes and listening what faculty is telling and going home, browsing Facebook, chatting with WhatsApp, and something more is also required here. You should know, okay? Because this is a time where you will be learning all these things which you will be tested during your articleship. See, your articleship determines your career. If you choose a good firm, thereafter your career will be very simple. If you are not choosing a proper firm, then definitely getting job after completion of CA will be difficult. Don't think that no, I am CA, therefore I will be getting job. So the employer will come to my home, he will knock the door with the offer letter. No, not possible. Be practical. See, people will say many things because you need to come into CA coaching, clear or not. So coaching centers don't listen. Please don't listen to the coaching centers. So each and every coaching center will say that they will show always heaven, but it's not that easy to get a job after completion of CA. You cannot undermine yourself, right? You cannot go for 15,000 rupees job or 20,000 rupees job per month. You cannot. You want some, you have some expectation. That expectation, if you need to get a job, definitely you need to be equipped with other skills also. I know many rankers who are not able to get proper salary. They are getting 30,000 rupees, 40,000 rupees per month. Ranker. Why? Bookish knowledge. No general knowledge for them. They have learnt, mugged up and went to exam. They have vomited there and they got marks. That is not sufficient. Need to know something. So what all these banks are doing, lot of general knowledge we have today, and that you are not having because you are not having any interest to know something new. Always you have no interest to read what is there in the book. That is not required. Mainly you need to know something else also. Sir, what is the way in which we can get it? You take this financial newspapers. Financial newspapers, for that don't subscribe. So anywhere you will be identifying financial newspapers. When you read, you will be identifying certain terms. Okay, certain terms you will be identifying. Anyhow, many of you are having smartphones today. Don't lie that I don't have a smartphone, sir. and it has with internet connection also. So when you see a term, just Google for it as to what is the meaning of that term. So you will get to know lot of things. Example, there is something called Sybil. There is something called a Sybil. So what is, oh, they please da, I will take class, please. இல்ல கொஞ்சம் control பண்ணிக்கோ, please. Huh? So there is something called Sybil. Full form, if you know, don't think someone will come and ask you, Rhea, you said full form, take this gift. Like that no one will give. I am just asking you to know what it is. Sybil is something what a common database that is maintained with respect to each and every person who borrowed some amount from the bank. If you default to that bank, your name will be entered into that common database. You will not be able to get loan from any other bank. You understood or not? These are the small terms, general knowledge, which I am asking you to know. What is the fixed deposit? If I make a fixed deposit, what is fixed deposit first? And if I make a fixed deposit, what is the interest I get? What if I liquidate the fixed deposit before maturity period? What will happen? Like this, as a commerce student, you should be knowing. Clear or not? Simple terms only. For that, I am not asking you to read bundles and bundles of books which are related to finance. Not necessary. Small terms. What is derivatives? What is security means? And what is the difference between shares and securities? Like this, some common terms which you are using, which you are seeing in your daily life, you should be knowing. Got it? So this is one such common aspect, that what will be the borrowal rate prevailing in market today? 18%, not less than that. If I need to get a loan, what is the minimum rate of interest? 18%. And this 18% I need to get a loan, I have to pay that to 18% simple interest. No bank will give. Will you agree with me? Banks stopped giving loans at simple rate of interest 18%. It will always go for the compounding rate of interest. Then what is the way in which we can obtain a finance at a very cheaper rate? Service tax is a good source of finance. You know how? What is the rate you need to pay? Don't pay service tax. What is the maximum burden that you will be having? 15% per annum you need to pay. You understood? This many people do not know. They think that they have to pay, otherwise it will attract penalty and some other consequences. Not at all. You can show that you need to pay. You declare. You don't say that I will not declare, sir. You have to show, sir, 5 lakhs I need to pay. But right now I don't have money of 5 lakhs. I will pay it at a later point of time. And pay it at a later point of time. So what happens here? You have not defaulted anything. You have not defaulted anything. So therefore, an interest at the rate of 15% per annum is what you need to pay. You understood or not? So this interest will come only if the payment is not made on or before the due date. This on or before is only for theoretical purpose, but for practical purpose always it is on the due date. Correct or not? Which idiot will pay before the due date? Correct or not? Sir, 6th means my mind will say, okay, make payment on 6th only. It will never say to me, make payment on 1st itself. Never, definitely not possible. So what is the due date here in case of quarterly payment? 6th of the month following every quarter. 6th of the month following every quarter. Suppose if it is monthly basis, same, but only thing it is on a monthly basis. That is 6th of the month following every month. 6th of the month following every month. For example, July to September is the second quarter. What is the due date? 6th of October. And then October to December is the third quarter. Due date is what? 6th of January. But for the last quarter, that is January to March, the due date is not 6th of April, the due date is March 31st. Understood or not? Same way here. April month means due date is 6th of May. May month means 6th of June. June month means 6th of July. Like that it will continue. But for the month ending March, it is 31st of March. So in these two cases, you need to remember, for month ending March, huh? What did I say here? What did I tell here? What did I tell? For the month ending March and quarter ending March. What is your problem here? I am not responsible. If I get mental and if I tear my dress and go, I am not responsible, okay? Forgive me, sorry. I am taking class only. I clearly told that for the month ending March and quarter ending March. Swami, evidence, please tell me. Yes or no, yaar? For the month ending March and quarter ending March. Now, if because of you, if I become mental, my family members will not leave you here. Quarter ending March, the due date is 31st of March. I have a doubt whether you know and asking irritating me or innocence either. So for the month ending March, means when it is coming, monthly payment. For the quarter ending March, when it will come, quarterly payment. The due date will be 31st of March. You understood this? So tell me, what is the due date and where is it given? Rule 6 of Service Tax Rules 1994. And in case of individual, HUF, firm including LLP, and then 1% company having turnover during previous year not exceeding 50 lakhs, the due date will be 6th of the month following every quarter. For the quarter ending March, it is 31st of March. Then in case of others, it is 6th of the month following every month. And for the month ending March, it is 31st of March. Understood or not? Now, whether we need to make e-payment or any other mode of payment is allowed. Mandatory e-payment. What is e-payment? Electronic payment, like how you make this fund transfer or payment by credit card, debit card, etc. That is the only payment allowed. You cannot go stand in the queue and give in cash. Cash payments are not at all accepted. And even check payments also not at all accepted. It should be always electronic payment. Electronic payment means 3. Debit card, credit card and net banking. Only these 3 are allowed. Got it? No other mode of payment is allowed for making payment to the government with respect to duty or tax. For that only the due date is 6th. But sometimes practically it is not possible to make payment by electronic mode. Maybe the person is located in a rural area, the manufacturer or a service provider is located in a rural area and there are no proper internet and banking facilities available. Even though internet facility may be available, but the bank should enable you to make payment of online transfers, correct or not? See, I have a debit card. Does not mean that I can happily make the payment, because for every online transaction they will ask me to generate a transaction password. Got it? So that transaction password request I need to give to the bank. What if the bank is not having any such policy and somewhere some bank is located, it's not even a corporate bank, some nationalized bank is located and they are not offering proper service. How he can make payment? You understood or not? Or maybe all the telephone lines got jammed because of some natural calamity. Because we have experienced that during the floods time, what has happened? So the network, completely internet and no mobile network, correct or not? Suppose if such thing happens, you cannot definitely make payment on or before the due date. In that case, what is the remedy available? You need to make a request to Assistant Commissioner or Deputy Commissioner of Excise. Sir, why excise? I told you already. Both service tax and excise duty are administered by the same department, that is excise department. Got it? Both excise duty as well as service tax are administered by the same department, that is Central Excise Department. Got it? And in some cities, they have divided it into separate called excise department and then service tax department. But in majority of the places, excise department and service tax department will be together. If you take Chennai, so in the next to the income tax building you can see excise building. So that is for excise duty. And in Anna Nagar, near that Tirumangalam bus depot, you will be seeing Nuri Towers, that is service tax department. Understood? So one is in service tax separately we have and excise we have. For this big city, yes, of course it will be. Even for Mumbai, yes, even for Delhi it will be. But in all other places, excise department and the service tax department will be merged. It will be in the same building and entirely it is administered by Central Excise Department only. Understood or not? So that's the reason why here I am referring to ACDC, Assistant Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner of Excise. Got it? So to whom you need to make an application? Assistant Commissioner or Deputy Commissioner of Excise, asking him to allow you to make payment by a mode other than electronic payment. To make payment by a mode other than electronic payment. In that case, the due date will not be 6th, the due date will be one day before, that is 5th. Understood? Clear or not? So when the due date will not be 6th and when the due date will be 5th? This is mandatory e-payment, correct or not? Mandatory e-payment, electronic payment. Electronic payment means what are the payments that are allowed? Debit card, credit card and net banking. Sir, Paytm, wallet, etc. No, this is government here. What you are paying is duty or tax. For this and all, Paytm will not apply. So mandatory e-payment, electronic payment, but we have a note. What is that? However, payment of service tax, can be made by a mode other than e-payment, What is that mode other than e-payment? It could be check, or it could be demand draft, or it could be pay order, or it could be cash deposit in bank, cash deposit in government bank account. So these are the various options available. Check, DD, pay order, cash deposit in government bank account other than e-payment. By making a request to whom? Request to AC. AC stands for Assistant Commissioner or Deputy Commissioner of Excise. In such case, due date shall be considered as what? Due date shall be considered as 5th instead of 6th. Which means wherever 6th comes, it should be replaced with 5th. For quarterly payment means 5th of the month following every quarter. Here 5th of the month following every month. this will remain same. 31st of March will remain same, you understood or not? Wherever 6th comes, in that place only you need to replace it with 5th. 5th of the month following every quarter, 5th of the month following every month. But for the month ending March or quarter ending March, it will remain same as 31st of March. You understood this? So now what is that we need to discuss? We completed levy. Already we have seen. Meaning of service, meaning of consideration, meaning of activity and consideration we have seen in the definition of service. So these two is in section 65B clause 44. Okay, and even collection we have discussed. Now let's try to understand this two. What is these two? It should not be in negative list and it should be provided in the taxable territory. First we started with service that we have completed. Then we have seen levy, point of payment and collection. Got it? Now what we are discussing is that third point and fourth point. What is this negative list and what is this provided in taxable territory? That's what we are seeing now. Listen. Second, we are starting with the structure of service tax law. Structure of service tax law. To know about what is negative list, we are discussing this. Structure of service tax law. See, a service is divided into three. A service is divided into three, not the definition of service, classification of service. First, we have non-taxable service. Non-taxable service. And then we have exempted service. Exempted service. And then taxable service. Taxable service. Before 1/7/2012, so this is with effect from 1/7/2012. In 2012 only the position got changed. Before 2012, I was referring to something called positive list. Positive list means only the services which are taxable are defined. Some A, B, C, D, E, F like that, that is defined as taxable services. In these taxable services itself, there will be some exempted service also. Then what is a non-taxable service which is not a taxable service? Means something which is not defined as taxable service will become non-taxable service. You understood or not? And somewhere 90 to 100 services used to be there. But in 2012, because of the revenue generation, see, government identified as to which is the source from which they can get more and more income. So therefore first is today excise duty. First is excise duty. From excise duty only the revenue is high. Second is customs duty. Third is service tax. But service tax started with nothing in 1994 and it came to third place today. It's only because of the number of services and the increase in service sector. Got it? So now if I need to collect more and more money from this sector, definitely I need to bring many services into the scope. For which what Mr. Chiddu did, he removed this positive list and he kept negative list. Means he defined what are non-taxable services. You understood or not? What are non-taxable services got defined. And what are exempted services got defined. Then what is taxable service now? Balancing figure. Clear or not? What is a taxable service? A service which is neither a non-taxable service, a service which is neither covered in non-taxable services nor in exempted services will become a taxable service. You understood or not? Now, when a service is non-taxable service, we need to know. First, if the service is in negative list of services, that negative list of services is given under section 66D. Got it? 66D. 66B is levy. Then 66E is declared services. 66D is negative list. Understood or not? Section 66D covers the negative list of services. So what are non-taxable services? Services covered under section 66D. That is negative list of services. Negative list of services. Then next, where the service should be provided? Taxable territory. What if the service is provided in non-taxable territory? Then it is also a non-taxable service. Got it? Services provided in non-taxable territory. Non-taxable territory is non-taxable services. Now tell me, what are non-taxable services? Services covered under section 66D, that is negative list of services, and services which are provided in non-taxable territory. Then exempted services, that is also defined. That is also defined. Exempted services means, this is under service tax, okay. Exempted services means services covered under notification number, services covered under notification number 25 of 2012. 25 of 2012. This is known as mega exemption notification. Mega exemption notification. What is this mega exemption notification? Means all exempted services are kept in one place. All exempted services are kept in one place. That is known as this mega exemption notification. Got it? And what is the notification number? 25 of 2012. Then next, small service provider exemption. Small service provider, like me, small service provider exemption under notification number 33 2012. 33 of 2012. Small service provider means a person whose value of services provided, means gross amount or turnover, does not exceed 10 lakhs. He is known as small service provider. So people like me, we are not required to pay service tax because our income is less than or equals to 10 lakhs. Got it? In a year. So we will be eligible for this exemption, small service provider exemption. Got it? And then still I am not paying service tax. Here I am small service provider only. See this. No, I cannot cut expenses because service tax is always payable on the gross amount. Trust me, what I am earning is less than or equals to 10 lakhs. I should not tell this openly, but it is less than or equals to 10 lakhs only. Not per month, per year. Then SEZ exemption. SEZ means special economic zone exemption under notification number 12 of 2013. Special economic zone exemption under notification number 12 of 2013. These three are called as exempted services. What are the three exempted services? exempted service under notification 25/2012, that is mega exemption notification, and then small service provider exemption under notification 33/2012. Please remember the notification numbers, at least minimum notification numbers which you should remember, got it? And then we have something called special economic zone exemption under notification 12/2013. You understood these three? Then only two are in negative list, sorry, only two are in non-taxable services, only three are in exempted services. Then what are taxable services? Balancing figure means a service which is neither a non-taxable service nor an exempted service will come and fall under taxable services. Okay. Now, these taxable services are divided into three. These taxable services are further divided into three. Okay. That is abatement services. Abatement services. Abatement services means there is a percentage of deduction is available. Already we have seen this while discussing hire purchase and leasing. I told you 90% abatement means, is it a taxable service? Yes, but you do not have to pay tax on the entire value. You have a deduction. So it comes under taxable service, but it is eligible for an abatement, means a deduction. That is known as abatement services under notification number 26/2012. Easily you can remember. 100% exemption is in 25/2012. Got it? 100% exemption means mega exemption notification. 100% is exempted. That is 25/2012. This is partially exempted. Correct? Deduction means you do not have to pay on entire value. So partial exemption is in 26/2012. So mega exemption notification number is what? 25/2012. Then this abatement services notification 26/2012. And then reverse charge mechanism services. Reverse charge mechanism services under notification number 30/2012. Reverse charge mechanism services under notification number 30/2012. What does it mean? Service provider is not required to pay service tax. A person other than service provider will be paying. Best example, import of services. We have seen in case of import of service where SP is located outside India, where SR is located in India. So even though it is a taxable service, but SP will not be paying service tax because he is located outside India. Liability to pay service tax is on service recipient. That is known as reverse charge mechanism. Apart from these two, we have one more category, that is normal services. Means we neither have abatement nor have reverse charge. Means it is forward charge mechanism services. Understood or not? Clear? So that even if you are not writing, it is okay. Means abatement service, reverse charge mechanism service. Apart from that is normal. Normal means what? On entire value we need to pay service tax. And that too it is covered under forward charge mechanism. Got it? If you want to write there. Next category, that is forward charge mechanism services. Forward charge mechanism services without abatement. Forward charge mechanism services without abatement. Again in brackets put balancing figure. Forward charge mechanism services without abatement, in bracket balancing figure, means neither covered under abatement nor under reverse charge. The balance is taxable services. That too at what rate? 100% rate means 15% you have to pay, and even what is that reverse charge or forward charge? Forward charge only service provider will be paying. You understood or not? Now tell me, what is that you need to know now? Negative list. Correct? Second, exempted services. Third, SSP exemption, SEZ exemption. And then abatement services, reverse charge mechanism services. Other than this, called as taxable services without abatement, and service provider will pay. Got it? Many lists are there. Fine. SSP exemption and SEZ exemption is not that big. We will leave it. It's just a concept. So we do not have to remember the number of services, what are there. But if you need to remember what are all the list of services, you have 4 lists like that. First list is negative list of services. Second list is list of exempted services. Third list is list of abatement services. Fourth list is list of reverse charge mechanism services. You understood or not? So this we will be discussing, and the weightage of this is 8 marks. What? Not this one. If you know that 4 list of services, you will be getting 8 marks minimum and maximum 10 marks. Out of 25 marks, the 8 to 10 marks will be in this place only. You understood or not? How to remember that and how to analyze that, we will see at a later point of time. This is too early to discuss all these things. If I start discussing, then you will not be able to understand anything at this point of time. That's why I am covering all other things, and last I am coming to this place called list of services. Clear or not? Next, what is this? Service must be provided in non-taxable territory. That is the third point we need to know. It should be provided in taxable territory. Now you make note of that chart. Already we have discussed. Do you remember? What is that? Taxable territory, non-taxable territory, service provider, service recipient. So that list will make note. Place of provision of service. Place of provision of service, POPS. The territory, that is scope of Finance Act, we need to know. Scope of Finance Act 1994, that is land. First we are seeing land. In that, the territory is divided into the entire land territory is divided into taxable territory and non-taxable territory. Please be serious here. Please. And what is taxable territory? India minus Jammu and Kashmir. What is non-taxable territory? Jammu and Kashmir plus a place outside India. Plus a place outside India. Now, we have seen 4 situations. Already we discussed this. I am just repeating it again. Service provider and service recipient might be in taxable territory, and whenever this service is provided, it will be taxable service or non-taxable service. No doubt it is a taxable service, but unless otherwise it is exempted. Clear or not? So it is a taxable service. It is a taxable service. What if service recipient is in non-taxable territory. What about this service? This is a non-taxable service. Non-taxable service. What if both service provider and service recipient are in non-taxable territory? Then also it is a non-taxable service. And this one is a taxable service. Okay. Next, let's see waters. This is in the land. Now in the waters. You finish making note of this. Scope of Finance Act 1994, that is other than land. Other than land. This is India. Okay. India, this is South India. You have to assume this is known as baseline. This is known as baseline. And from this, I don't know India map here, how to draw. I know India map, but I don't know how to draw, so that's why. This will be easy, no? South India will be easy, so that's why I have drawn that alone, okay? And this is known as 12 nautical miles from the baseline, known as territorial waters. Territorial waters. 1 nautical mile, for your information, 1 nautical mile equals to 1.8352 kilometers, means approximately 2 kilometers. Approximately 2 kilometers is 1 nautical mile. In sea or in air, the distance will be measured in nautical miles. In sea as well as in air or below the sea, the area will be measured, or the distance will be measured not as kilometers, it will be measured as nautical miles. So 12 nautical miles is known as territorial waters. And up to 200 nautical miles, is known as exclusive economic zone of India. Exclusive economic zone of India. Beyond this 200 nautical miles, is known as high seas. High seas. This is the name of that place. Up to 12 nautical miles is known as territorial waters. Up to 200 nautical miles is known as exclusive economic zone of India. Beyond 200 nautical miles is known as high seas. This 200 nautical miles should be counted from the baseline only. Got it? This 200 nautical miles should be counted from baseline, which means what is the area of exclusive economic zone? 200 minus 12. 200 minus 12. 200 minus 12 means that is 188 nautical miles is known as exclusive economic zone, that is after crossing territorial waters. But total will be 200, got it? Up to 12 nautical miles from baseline is known as territorial waters, and up to 200 nautical miles from baseline is known as exclusive economic zone of India, EEZ, and beyond 200 nautical miles is known as high seas. Now, a service recipient might be located in territorial waters, or he might be located in exclusive economic zone, or he might be located in high seas. Anywhere the service recipient might be located. Service provider, wherever he is located, that is irrelevant. Got it? Location of service provider is irrelevant. What we need to see is the location of service recipient, because here also, in the previous case also, we have not seen the location of service provider. What we have seen is the location of service recipient. As the service recipient is in taxable territory, it is becoming a taxable service. As a service recipient is in non-taxable territory, it becomes a non-taxable service. So that's the reason why here, where service provider is located is irrelevant. What we need to see is location of service recipient. Now, listen. Suppose if service recipient is located in territorial waters, then any activity is treated as a taxable service, unless otherwise it is covered under exempted service or negative list of services. Understood or not? Any activity is taxable. Any activity is taxable, unless otherwise it is in the negative list or exempted services. Right now, try to understand it is a taxable service. Suppose if service recipient is located in 12 nautical miles, that is territorial waters, any activity, that is, it will become a taxable service. First, it will become a taxable service. Then here only activities in relation to PEP, prospecting, extraction, production of mineral oil and natural gas. Prospecting means searching. Extraction means taking out crude oil or any gases. And production, that is refining it. So, activities in relation to prospecting means searching, comma, extraction, comma, production of mineral oil or natural gas. Mineral oil or natural gas. That is only taxable. Is only taxable service. Activities in relation to prospecting, extraction, production of mineral oil or natural gas. Not prospecting is taxable, not production is taxable, not extraction is taxable. You please don't understand that these three are taxable. No, not these three are taxable. Activity in relation to prospecting means someone is doing searching job for which you are doing some activity. You are doing some activity for consideration. Or someone is engaged in production. He is asking you to provide some services, so you are providing service. This is known as activities in relation to. I never use the word prospecting, extraction, production of mineral oil or natural gas is taxable service. I use the word activities in relation to. For doing that job, if I do any other activity to him, that activity is only taxable service, because prospecting do not involve any consideration. Someone is searching air where there will be consideration for him, correct or not? Extraction and production will come under excise duty. extraction and production of mineral oil or natural gas will come under excise duty. So therefore it is covered under excise duty. That's the reason why not these three, but any service in relation to these three will be taxable service. What about this? What if service recipient is located here? It is a non-taxable service. Non-taxable service. Now listen carefully. Suppose if the person is in beyond 12 nautical miles, that is in less than or equals to 200 nautical miles, and you have provided some activity otherwise than in relation to these three, is it a taxable service or non-taxable service? Non-taxable service, because only these three activities in relation to these three are only taxable. You understood or not? Now, what is that we need to know? Wherever we use the word taxable service, put a hash there, because it has one note, common note. So for all these taxable, we have one note. What is that? Unless otherwise not specified in negative list or exempted services. Suppose if it is specified in negative list or exempted services, it will not become a taxable service. Such service should not be specified in negative list under section 66D or exempted service under notification 25/2012. Such service should not be specified in negative list under section 66D or exempted service under notification 25/2012. Now, actually, based on this, two things tell me what is the place of provision of service, location of service recipient, correct or not? If service recipient is located in taxable territory, the said service is a taxable service. If he is located in non-taxable territory, the said service is a non-taxable service. So that's the conclusion we are reaching. Conclusion, what is that? Place of provision of service is nothing but location of service recipient. Location of service recipient. If that location of service recipient is in taxable territory, then such service is a taxable service. You understood or not? Suppose if service recipient is located in non-taxable territory, such service is a non-taxable service. Example, you are doing audit of a company which is located in Germany. You are service provider. Where service recipient is located, non-taxable territory. Whether the amount received by you is taxable or non-taxable? Non-taxable. You understood or not? Then another example. A.R. Rahman is giving a concert in US for which he obtained some consideration. Whether it is taxable or non-taxable? Where service recipient is located, correct or not? For outside India, therefore it is not a taxable service. And you are a goods transporter. You are transporting goods from one place to another place. And one person from Jammu and Kashmir approached you for transporting apples from Jammu and Kashmir to Chennai. Where service recipient is located, non-taxable territory, so therefore it is not a taxable service. You understood or not? You are a transporter, service provider. Who appoints you is the service recipient. Where is he located? Jammu and Kashmir. So non-taxable territory, it is not a taxable service. Understood or not? Then we completed this entirely, correct? Activity and consideration is in section 65B clause 44, and the meaning of taxable territory. The meaning of taxable territory is given in section 66C. The meaning of taxable territory is given in section 66C. What is section 66B? Levy of service tax. 66C, meaning of taxable territory. 66D, negative list of services. 66E, declared services. Okay, can you remember this? 66B, 66C, 66D, 66E. I did not discuss in the order. I did not discuss it in the same order in which sections have been given. If I discuss it in the order in which section has been given, definitely you would not have understood anything. Because while discussing levy itself, I need to tell what are declared services, what are negative list of services, and what is this taxable territory. Got it? So that's the reason why we are learning it structurally, and inside that we are seeing the sections. This is the way in which we should remember and we should learn the subject. Understood or not? Then, so this is about the conditions, all these things we have seen. Now let's proceed to point of payment, that is point of taxation rules 2011. This rule 6 also we completed, this levy aspect also we have seen, and what are the various services we have seen. Now we are proceeding to point of taxation rules 2011, a very, very important area. Point of taxation rules, point of taxation rules 2011, point of taxation rules 2011. Let's try to understand what is the position before 2011. Before the applicability of these rules, what was the position? That is, before 1/4/2011 and with effect from 1/4/2011. Before 2011, what happened? We were following cash basis for the payment of service tax. Cash basis means service tax is payable only when the consideration is received. Consideration is received. What if we are not receiving consideration from the service recipient? We are not required to pay service tax. But now we are following accrual basis. Accrual basis means presence of consideration, means received or receivable. That too whichever is earlier. Got it? Received or receivable, that too whichever is earlier, we are required to pay service tax. You understood or not? So complete migration from cash basis to accrual basis. Clear or not? So before 1/4/2011, how it was? Cash basis. Cash basis. And after 1/4/2011, it will be accrual basis. Accrual basis. Here what is relevant? Receipt of consideration. Receipt of consideration. And here what is relevant? Presence of consideration. Here receipt of consideration, and here presence of consideration. ST payable only when consideration is received, whereas here ST payable is ST payable only when consideration is received. ST payable on presence of consideration, that is received or receivable, whichever is earlier. what are the advantages of this before 1/4/2011, that is only when it is received we are required to pay service tax. Let's see. You are not required to pay service tax if you have not received, correct or not? Which means if some service recipients are not paying, you don't have any burden of payment of service tax. Clear? Nothing is going out of your pocket. Nothing is going out of your pocket. This is the advantage. But people started misusing this advantage. What they used to do, they will receive and they will account it as bad debts. They will receive money but it is in cash and they will account it as bad debts. Example, if empted care receives in cash from you, it will not be accounted, correct or not? When it is not accounted, how department will know? If empted care says we got only 100 students but actually there could be 1000 students. You understood what I mean to say? Because when we are dealing with service, there is no proof that service has been provided to this many people. Goods, there is a proof, tangible. So 100 number of units or 1000 number of units, there is a proof. But for service, there is no proof. Will you agree with me? Because it is intangible, we cannot prove and even department cannot identify whatever the value that we declare, that will be final. Got it? So what they used to do, they will receive money from the service recipient, but they will write it off as bad debts. When they write it off as bad debts, they are having two advantages. First, their income tax will come down. Why their income tax will come down? Bad debts will be written off in what? P&L. Means profit will come down, correct or not? You recognize as sales. Sales increases. Every person will see sales only. Got it? Every person will see sales. And then at the next year, what you will do? You will try to write it off. You will try to write it off. When you are writing it off, then in P&L account the profit will come down. When the profit comes down, you are required to pay income tax only on the profit. So lesser profit, that is one advantage. Second advantage, you are not at all required to pay service tax. When if it is receipt of consideration, you understood or not? How people try to misuse it. Then another way, listen. They will collect, but they will record the transaction only when they wanted to pay service tax. Example, listen carefully. March I collected. If I account it in March, I need to pay service tax by 31st of March, correct? If I account in March, I need to pay service tax by 31st of March. Suppose if I account in April, I need to pay by 6th of July. Can I borrow some time? You understood or not? What I am doing, I collected, but I am not recognizing the transaction today. I will recognize the transaction at a later point of time to enjoy some advantage. Got it? Sometimes this year completely they will not enter and they will enter in the next year. Complete April to March they will not enter, they will enter in the next year. Means government will be recovering the service tax only in the next year. You understood or not? This is second manipulation. Third manipulation. There is an exemption called small service provider exemption up to 10 lakhs. Got it? Now what these people will do, if they have received 11 lakhs, they need to pay service tax on that 1 lakh, correct? 10 lakhs exemption. How much they have received? 11 lakhs. 11 lakhs minus 10 lakhs, 1 lakh. On 1 lakh they need to pay service tax. Clear or not? What they will do, that 1 lakh they will recognize in the next year. Advantage? This year they are not required to pay service tax. Next year anyhow 10 lakhs again exemption is available. Clear or not? Every year 10 lakhs exemption is available. This 1 lakh extra you are recognizing in the next period. So next period anyhow it is exempted. Next year again it crosses 10 lakhs. Again you will defer it for the next year. Like that you will defer and you will enjoy the exemption. You will not be paying any service tax. You understood or not? So because of these three manipulations, what people used to do, government was fed up with that system of receipt basis. So they have moved to accrual basis. Means if you have received or not, it is your headache. Government is least bothered about it. You make payment of your tax, whatever it is, on accrual basis. You understood? Clear or not? Means if there is bad debts, we are not responsible. Government says we are not responsible. Why you provided service to such a kind of person who is not going to pay you money? Don't provide service. Understood? Means sir, for bad debts also I need to pay service tax. Yes. Then I provided service, I have not received money. I provided the service, I have not yet received the money, and I received a lesser amount. Only on the amount what I have received I need to pay service tax, or on the entire amount I need to pay service tax. Entire amount, accrual, clear or not? It is not on the basis of receipt. Means this accrual basis leads to increase in the working capital requirement. Will you agree with me? How working capital requirement will increase? Generally, I used to receive and pay. That was the previous system. I used to receive and pay. Now, I have to pay and receive. Correct or not? Am I right here? Here, I used to receive, then only I used to pay. But here, first I should pay, accrual. First I should pay, whether I received it or not. Then I have to recover, which means until the time I recover amount, I have to pay out of my pocket, correct? Means for that I need to create some capital requirements, got it? So, that is the effect of this accrual basis. Sir, people accepted this. Is there any other go for them? No, they have to accept. Can they say, no, we will not accept? They cannot, because they have to provide services now. Sir, whether these three limitations are taken care, first is taken care, already explained to you, bad debts. If you collect and even show it as bad debts, you have to pay service tax. Second is what? Second is what? You will receive in March, but you will put it in April. That is not possible now, because it is whichever is earlier. That is received or receivable, whichever is earlier. Actually, when it is receivable, March month, so it will be into March only. Got it? And then that limitation is also taken care. Third limitation, small service provider exemption. What it says, it is not the payment that is received, it is the services that is provided is relevant. Means what? Accrual again. So, even though 11 lakhs worth of service provided, previously used to recognize only receipt as 10 lakhs. Now not possible. 11 lakhs you have to show. When you show 11 lakhs, then on 1 lakh you need to pay service tax. Got it? So that's the reason why they went to accrual system. You understood the background of this? Now, how this point of taxation rules are spread? What are the various rules that we have? Let's see. Rule 1, these rules are known as point of taxation rules. Rule 2 talks about definitions. In that, first we need to know some definitions, some basic definitions. Got it? That we are seeing now. So this is what? Rule. This is point of taxation rules 2011. This is the background of that. This is the background of point of taxation rules. Now, rule 1. These rules are known as point of taxation rules 2011, and now we are discussing rule 2. Rule 2, definitions. You need to first know 3 important meanings . Date of completion, date of invoice, date of payment received. Date of completion, date of invoice, and date of payment received. These are the 3 meanings that you should know first. What is date of completion? DOC means what? Date of completion means the date on which service is provided. Correct or not? Date on which service is provided. What is the date of completion in our case? What is the date of completion in our case? The batch when it completes, that is the date of completion. Correct or not? Am I right? Means the amount what you paid is in advance. Correct? The amount what you paid is in advance. Correct or not? When the service is going to be get completed after the completion of the batch, that is the date of completion. Then DOI is date of invoice, and DOP is date of payment received. date of payment received. When invoice should be issued? When invoice should be issued? Invoice to be issued within 30 days from the date of completion of service. So when invoice to be issued within 30 days from the date of completion of service. Invoice to be issued within 30 days from the date of completion of service. Invoice to be issued within 30 days from the date of completion of service. Okay, that's the reason why we are not giving invoice to you, we are giving the receipt to you. What receipt? Once you make payment, you are getting the receipt, correct? Immediately that swiping machine receipt is generated and given to you, correct or not? But if you need invoice, when we should give invoice? For the entire amount within 30 days from the date of completion of service. Understood or not? But you can also get invoice for advance what you have paid. Got it? Say you are making full payment means now itself you will get the invoice, and that invoice and final invoice will not change. Got it? You have made full payment, you can get the invoice, that invoice and final invoice will not change because that's a full payment. If you have paid part payment, only for the part payment you can get the invoice. Got it? You cannot get invoice for the full payment. Reason? When invoice for full payment should be given within 30 days from the date of completion of service. Understood or not? Next, this 30 days should be taken as 45 days in case of banking and other financial services. 45 days in case of banking and other financial services. So this 30 days should be taken as 45 days in case of banking and other financial services. Then what is the meaning of date of payment received? Date of payment received means date of entry into your books or date of credit into your bank account, whichever is earlier. Why sir, whichever is earlier? Sometimes you will receive the check, you will enter it into the books, then you will deposit into the bank, and at a later point of time it will be credited into the bank account. So which is earlier? Date of entry into the books. Sometimes directly the service recipient will make fund transfer. So it will come and fall into your bank account. You may not be aware of it. You will be doing BRS. When you do BRS, at that time you will come to know that one person has made the payment. Now you will pass a journal entry recognizing it. Understood or not? Now in this case, it is date of credit in the bank account is earlier. Understood or not? So what is the meaning of date of payment received? Date of entry in the books of account, in the books of whose books? Service provider, or date of credit, whichever is earlier. Date of entry in the books of accounts, or date of credit in bank account, whichever is earlier. Now, point of taxation revolves around these three dates only. Either it will be DOC, date of completion, or it will be date of invoice, or it will be date of payment received. So point of taxation will be between these three dates only, clear or not? Now let's try to understand the point of taxation rules one by one. Rule 2 we have seen. Now we are starting with rule 3. This is point of taxation in normal cases other than those covered under other rules. We have rule 3 to rule 8. We have rule 3 to rule 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, when rule 3 will be applicable? Residuary. Rule 3 is residuary, not rule 8. Rule 3 is residuary, which means if a transaction is not covered under rule 4 or rule 5 or rule 6 or rule 7 or rule 8, then it will come under rule 3. You understood or not? Rule 3. Point of taxation in case of normal services other than those covered in other rules. POT means point of taxation. Now, I'll give you an example. Please try to understand. Say, I am a construction service provider. Okay, I am a construction service provider, and you want me to construct a house for you. You have a land, and you are supplying me the raw material, that is material required for construction. First, you are SR or SP? SR. I am SP. Now, you approach me for the purpose of providing a service, that is construction service. Now, there will be discussion, negotiation and finalization of the contract price, correct? The contract price is, say for example 40 lakhs. We have freeze the contract price. Now, what I will do, first I will raise a pro forma invoice or a quotation to you. Pro forma invoice or a quotation to you to know that what will be the work done and what will be the payment. And even I will specify in that quotation that you have to give me 40% as advance. Whatever is the contract price, in that 40% you need to give me as advance. See, in every service, advance is normal. In every service, advance is normal, and it should be. Because what if the service is provided, thereafter the payment is not received? In case of goods, you can get it back. I sold you a product, you are not making me payment, I will get it back. But in case of service, can I ask you, okay, you do construction for me? Not possible. Yeah? When I start providing the service itself, then I need to be certain that I will be receiving payment. So how that assurance I will be getting? Some amount I need to receive from you. You understood or not? So it is common in service sector. Now I am asking you to pay 40% of the contract price. What is contract price? 40 lakhs. 40 lakhs into 40%, 16 lakhs I asked you to pay, and you paid me 16 lakhs. Clear? Now, in this case, should I pay service tax on that 16 lakhs now? Yes, because accrual means what? Received or receivable, whichever is earlier. So it is receivable or received? Received. So whether I need to pay service tax or not? Yes. On this 16 lakhs I need to pay service tax at any cost. So what is the point of taxation? Date of payment received. Understood or not? What is the point of taxation? Date of payment received. Whether the service is completed? No. When you can recognize income here? Only when you complete the service. Correct or not? Emptied care will keep all the fees what you have paid in suspense account. It is a suspense. Why it is a suspense account? Only when we provide or complete the service, then only we will recognize it as our accrual income. Understood or not? Why sir like that? Because logic is there. What if some students may drop in the mid of the batch? Possible? Possible? On account of health reasons or on account of some other reason, so they have not made the full payment, or they came, they filled in the application form, they sat in the first day and second day and they left. You understood? So in these cases, what we will be doing, if we recognize, we have to pay, because no consideration for bad debts. Understood or not? We will not get any benefit of bad debts. So always we need to pay service tax. So recognizing itself will be deferred after completion of service. Got it? Because when we recognize after completion of service, which means that what happens, if some of the students have left, whatever the fees they have paid, so that we will put under group 1 or group 2. You understood? Say he paid 30,000 rupees here, still 20,000 something is payable. So that 30,000 rupees we will put it under group 1. So he did not attend group 2. Like that we will close the admission. Got it? So if we recognize it as both the groups, group 1 and group 2, unnecessarily we are required to pay service tax. Understood? That is an additional burden. Got it? And some students have asked for refund. They are telling, no sir, I could not survive here, I could not sustain here, I am from an outstation place. Generally we will not give refund. We don't have such policy of giving refund. Got it? Say some institution, education institution is giving you refund. If they recognize it, they have to pay service tax on that. Correct or not? That's the reason why they will never recognize it. Suppose if refund they are giving means they will give refund, and then that admission itself they will cancel. Clear or not? So that service is as good as not provided. Got it? You understood here? Yeah. So if the payment is received in advance, what is the point of taxation? On the date of payment received. Correct or not? Next, I started construction, but still the construction is not yet completed. During the process also, say I am about to complete construction, I may ask you to give some additional 30% as advance. Possible? 40% initially for starting the work. Now how much you need to pay balance? 60%. In that 60% I am asking you to give 30% and 30% after completion of the work. Clear or not? Now also you are giving me an amount. Advance, final payment. Advance. When it is final payment, after completion of service if you give, that is final payment. But before completion of service if you make any payment to me, that is called as my advance. Clear or not? Advance received from you. So in this case, what is the point of taxation for the 30%? Date of payment received. Understood or not? So in case of advance, always what is the point of taxation? Date of payment received. Now, I am individual. Date of payment received is 10th March. What is the point of taxation? Date of payment received is 10th March. What is the point of taxation? 10th March. Correct? Now only you told here, point of taxation is date of payment received. Date of payment received 10th March means, what is point of taxation? 10th March. What is the due date? Now you understood. What if the payment is received on 5th of April? Advance is received on 5th of April. 6th of July. You understood? Clear? So when the person is giving you advance, you ask him, wait, don't give me advance now. You give me advance somewhere in April first week, so that I have to pay service tax on that by 6th of July. Government thinks that they are intelligent, but not so. Definitely not so. They should understand some reality here, that out there many people are there, how to evade tax they will be thinking. So therefore, whatever you do, definitely there is always a scope for evasion. Understood or not? Then, service is over. Service got completed. What I should do? I should give an invoice within 30 days. I should give an invoice within 30 days from the date of completion of service. And I gave an invoice. You have not made the payment, balance payment 30%. Should I pay service tax? Yes. Because in this case, accrual I have recognized, correct or not? Which means no doubt I need to pay service tax. By the time I was about to give invoice, you made the payment. 30 days from the date of completion I need to give invoice. You are so great people that you made the payment even before the invoice what I have given. Now in that case, date of payment received will be the point of taxation. You understood or not? Tell me. For advance, date of payment received is point of taxation. Suppose if it is other payment, then invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. If you make the payment after invoice, date of invoice is the point of taxation. If you make payment before invoice, date of payment will be the point of taxation. Correct or not? So invoice or payment, whichever is earlier. Now, what is that I will do? I will ask you to give me money and I will give invoice. Possible? If I give invoice and later I collect money from you, what will happen? I have to pay service tax. Am I right? Instead, I will say, give me cash, I will give invoice. But the condition is not satisfied. What is that condition? Invoice not given within 30 days. Correct or not? That is completed service here. 31st March service is over here. When I should give invoice? Means 30th April. By 30th April I need to give invoice. By 30th April I gave invoice to you. You did not make me payment. You are making me payment in September. Means what I should do? Pay service tax and wait and collect it from you. Correct or not? I do not want to do that. What I did? September you said that you will make payment. Until that point of time I have waited and I gave you invoice in September and I collected money from you. You understood or not? Then I am breaching the condition. What is that condition I am breaching? 30 days invoice condition I am breaching. Due to that reason, point of taxation will be date of completion of service. Got it? Means 31st March itself is the point of taxation. Got it? Within 30 days, if I am not giving invoice from the date of completion, what will be the point of taxation? Date of completion. 31st March service is over. By 30th April I have to give. Say by 1st May I give. Means on 1st May I will come to know that I have to pay service tax by 31st of March. You understood the consequence here, which means I have to pay now service tax along with interest. Sir, are you understanding or not here? Apply your mind. That is, March 31st service is completed. And within 30 days from 31st March, you need to give invoice. That is 30th April. You missed 30th April to give invoice. And on 2nd May, you are raising invoice. You crossed 30 days, correct or not? Now you are in which date? 2nd May. Now you came to know that point of taxation is 31st March, past date. Got it? That is, you prepared for accounts exam. You slept and you woke up and it is costing exam. Got it? You understood? Means you missed one exam. You missed one accounts exam and you are going to the exam hall. It is costing exam. Got it? How it will be? That much serious it is. That is, you are crossing the date and you came to know that you should have made payment by 31st of March. Means now you have to pay along with interest. Understood or not? Then, date of completion will be the point of taxation in that case. So therefore, we have seen three situations. Listen carefully. If payment is received before completion of service, date of payment received is the point of taxation. Correct or not? If payment is received after completion of service, then invoice date or payment date, whichever is earlier, if invoice is given within 30 days from the date of completion of service. What if invoice is not given within 30 days from the date of completion of service? Date of completion of service is the point of taxation. Clear? So that we will make note as a flow chart. First, what is that you need to check? Whether payment is received, before completion of service. Whether payment is received before completion of service. Suppose if it is yes. Suppose if it is yes, what is the point of taxation? Suppose if it is yes, then what will be the point of taxation? Point of taxation equals to date of payment received. Date of payment received. Suppose if it is no. Suppose the payment is not received before completion of service. Then again you need to check another question. What is it? Whether invoice is issued within 30 days from the date of completion of service. From the date of completion, whether invoice is issued within 30 days from the date of completion. Suppose if it is yes, then what will be the point of taxation? Point of taxation equals to date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. Date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. What if it is no? What if it is no? What will be the point of taxation? Point of taxation equals to date of completion of service. Okay, now listen. What is the loophole available here? What you can do, date of completion within 30 days you need to give invoice, correct or not? Otherwise date of completion will be the point of taxation. Defer the date of completion itself. Defer the date of completion itself. How, sir? Building is completed and in toilet tap is not fixed. Is it completed? No. Date of completion is not there. Completion itself is not there. Why? Because I have not finished the construction. And what I will do, I will first receive the payment from you. I will fix the tap. Then I will raise invoice. Understood? Got it? On this hand I will receive payment. Same day I will fix the tap. Same day I will raise invoice. So no trouble for me. I received money from you. I will pay service tax. Got it? You understood or not? So it is a loophole available here. Defer the date of completion. Sir, how it is, sir? Building is over, no? Sir, what is the purpose of a house wherein there is no bathroom? Suppose if excise officer is asking, make him stay in that house for 2 days. What will happen? Narrow, correct? So, no one can stay here without tap where water will come, correct or not? So therefore, how big the house may be and whatever may be the luxury that is there in the bedroom, living room, etc. But in toilet, if tap is not there, he cannot do anything, clear or not? So therefore, really speaking, the worth of a house is in the toilet, clear or not? Really, because we would have taken 80% of the crucial decisions in our life in toilet only. If you want, you think 80% of the crucial decisions in our life we would have taken there only, because that's the time where we identify or where we get some peace. Got it? Mental peace. Mental peace we will be getting there only. Okay. So I have a dream that if I construct a house, I don't own a house, but if I construct a house, in that definitely some 800 to 1000 square feet, I will be constructing bathroom only. Got it? With all the superb facilities here. Okay. Reason, wherever. So in bedroom I cannot sleep happily. And somewhere in living room I cannot sleep happily. Bathroom is the place where no one will disturb me. Close the door and happily sleep for some time. Got it? So that's my situation here. Got it? And listen. So therefore, what is that we can do? We can defer the date of completion. Now listen. I gave you another point. That is, sir, I crossed the March 31st date. March 31st is the date of completion. And date of invoice should be 30th April. But I gave invoice on 2nd of May. Please listen to that example what we have discussed. Date of completion is 31st March. And date of invoice is 2nd May. 2nd May. Date of payment is 25th May. Date of payment is 25th May. Now, what will happen to the point of taxation? As invoice not given within 30 days, point of taxation is 31st of March and the due date is 31st of March, and say the actual date of payment of service tax. Payment of service tax is say some 30th May, which means from 31st March, interest for how many days? Interest for how many days? 60 days. That is 30 plus 30, 60 days I need to pay. Understood? Is there any way to bring this down? Interest for 60 days, is there any way to bring this down? Yes. Very, very simple. You do not have to do anything. This is actual. Got it? This is the actual information. Now, what you need to do is, first, the computer will be there. In the accounting software will be installed, say Tally, etc. Identify where the internet cable is. Remove the internet cable. Remove the internet cable. Reboot the system. Reboot the system. Got it? That is, turn off the system, and then when you switch it on, it will ask Alt F4. Press on Alt F4, the system will be rebooted. When you reboot the system, it will ask for date and time. If the internet cable is connected, it will automatically update the internet date and time. Otherwise, it will ask you to type the date and time. So now, type the date. You are in which date? 2nd May. You are in which date? 2nd May. You type the date as 25th of April. Got it? You type the date as 25th of April. The system will accept the date. And then switch on the system. Got it? So when you switch on the system, there will be some transactions. Got it? Now you generate an invoice. So invoice date will be 25th of April. 25th of April. Okay, save the invoice. Save the invoice in the system. That is, you are passing a journal entry on 2nd May with the date as 25th of April. Now, again, reboot the system. Now, connect the internet cable. It will automatically take the internet date and time, which means successfully you have tampered the accounting software by making an entry. On 2nd May with which date? 25th of April. You understood or not? So no one will identify that you have tampered the system. Got it? No one will identify. Now only two people will know this. You and the information systems auditor. There is an information systems auditor. All the computer systems are audited by an information systems auditor. He will only know, you and himself. How he will know, sir? Unnecessarily when you are rebooting the system, he will ask you, why are you rebooting the system this many times? So means something is serious, and he will say that I will put it in a report and I will submit it to the whomsoever appoints him, any tax authority, etc. Give 10,000 rupees to him and he will not do anything. Got it? He will say all the information systems in these organizations are maintained perfectly. Like that he will sign and go. Clear or not? You understood? So this is the way in which we need to escape. Now what happened? What is the date of invoice? 25th of April. Now whether invoice is given within 30 days. When invoice is given within 30 days and payment is on 25th May, what is the point of taxation? Invoice date or payment date, whichever is earlier. So therefore due date is, point of taxation, point of taxation is whichever is earlier, means 25th of April. And what will be the due date? Hey, individual means 6th of July. 6th of July. 6th of July means the due date is 6th of July, but you are paying service tax by 30th May. There is no interest. Clear or not? There is no interest, and because you are making payment of service tax by 30th May, the due date is 6th July. Even before the due date, you have made the payment of service tax. You are a honest taxpayer. Got it? Clear or not? Then doubt after class shall I discuss? Okay. No, you can wait, no? Up to completion of class, you can write concept doubt or doubt in the loophole. That we have to decide first. Concept doubt means, yes, there is a point in asking. But doubt in loophole means you have to wait up to the class. But even concept doubt also, I request you to wait. Keep it, whatever the doubt you have, you document there, you keep it. And definitely I will discuss it after the class. I never said I will not discuss and I never ran away. Got it? So I will discuss your doubts and go. Don't disturb me in the class when I am having a continuity in the class, please. Okay? So what is it we have seen now? Point of taxation in case of normal services. 3 points only. If payment is received before completion of service, date of payment received is the point of taxation. And if invoice is issued within, no, suppose if it is no, then invoice is issued within 30 days means date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. That is the point of taxation. If invoice is not issued within 30 days, point of taxation will be date of completion. This 30 days will be taken as 45 days in case of banking and other financial services. Other financial services. Okay. Now, on this rule 3, we may be getting some illustrations, simple illustrations only. Now, all illustrations on this point of taxation rules, we will see one rule and one illustration. But detailed, many number of illustrations we will see at a later point of time after completion of this. So I am giving only one illustration for this. So make note, illustration on rule 3. First, serial number, date of completion, date of invoice, date of payment. You need to tell what is point of taxation and what is the due date. Assume that service provider is individual. Assume that service provider is individual. First, date of completion is 5/10/2016. Invoice is 25/10/2016. Payment is 8/11/2016. Now, what is that? First you need to check whether payment is received before completion of service. Yes or no? Whether payment is received before completion of service. No. Whether invoice is given within 30 days from the date of completion of service. Yes. Then Invoice date or payment date, whichever is earlier, is the point of taxation. That is 25/10/2016. Means what will be the due date? He is an individual. 25/10 will come in which quarter? Third quarter. So for third quarter, October to December, 6th of January 2017 will be the due date. You understood this? Then date of completion is 5/10/2016. Date of invoice is 10/11/2016. Date of payment received is 8/11/2016. What will be the point of taxation? First check whether payment is received before completion of service. No. Whether invoice given within 30 days? No. So date of completion will be the point of taxation, that is 5/10/2016. And 5/10/2016 means the due date will remain same, that is 6/1/2017. Next, number 3, 8/8/2016 is the date of completion of service. Then 3/9/2016 is the invoice date. And 31/8/2016 is the date of payment. Now, whether payment is received before completion of service? No. Whether invoice is given within 30 days? Yes. Then invoice date or payment date, whichever is earlier. Which is earlier? Payment, that is 31/8/2016. 31/8 means 31st August. So which means it comes in which quarter? Second quarter. For second quarter, what is the due date? 6th of October 2016. Then number 4, 25/7/2016 is the date of completion of service. Invoice is say 10/8/2016. Payment is 15/7/2016. Now what is the point of taxation? Whether payment is received before completion of service or after completion of service. Before completion of service, then point of taxation will be 15/7/2016. Whether invoice is given within 30 days in this case? Yes. 15/7/2016, then the due date is what? 15/7 means it comes in which quarter? Second quarter. So same, 6/10/2016. Next, serial number 5, 25/7/2016. Invoice is 8/9/2016. Payment is 15/6/2016. What is the point of taxation? 15/6/2016, even though invoice not given within 30 days. Why? This 30 days concept will come only if payment is not received before completion of service. Correct? This 30 days you need to check only if payment is not received before completion of service. This itself is satisfied, means point of taxation is date of payment received. If it is no, then only you need to check whether invoice is given within 30 days from the date of completion of service. See here, invoice is not given within 30 days from the date of completion of service, but will that have any impact here? No, because point of taxation is a much earlier date before the date of completion. Correct or not? Then when, sir, we need to check that only if the first point is not satisfied, that is if payment is not received before completion of service. You understood or not? If payment is received after completion of service, then you will be checking invoice issue not issued within 30 days. So date of completion will be the point of taxation. You understood this? What is the due date? 15/6 means it comes in which quarter? First quarter. So 6th of April, May, June. 15/6 is 15th June. June is in third month. Okay, April, May, June, first quarter. So 6 July 2016. Then last case, 5/4/2016. Invoice is 25/4/2016. Payment, we have received some advance and we have received some final payment. Advance we received on 1/4/2016 and final payment we received on 20/4/2016. Now, how to determine point of taxation? That payment, that POT. Clear or not? So, for advance, what will be the point of taxation? Whether payment is received before completion of service? Yes. So, 1/4/2016. For final payment, whether payment is received before completion of service? No. Then check whether invoice is given within 30 days. Yes. Then invoice date or payment date, whichever is earlier. That is 24/2016. But whatever the case may be, the due date is same. That is 6/7/2016. Can this change? Due date change? Yes. If advance is in first quarter and the final payment is in third quarter, definitely it may change. Got it? Okay, shall I proceed to the next rule? So this rule 3 you understood. Can you repeat this rule 3 for me? Repeat. If payment is received before completion of service, date of payment received is the point of taxation. If payment is received after completion of service and invoice is given within 30 days from the date of completion of service, then invoice date or payment date, whichever is earlier. Otherwise, that is invoice not given within 30 days, then date of completion of service is the point of taxation. Understood? Now, rule 4. See, we have two rules in rule 4. We have two sub-rules in rule 4. First, rule 4 is applicable POT in case of change in effective rate of tax. Change in effective rate of tax. This is what rule 4 says. Change in effective rate of tax means in between these three dates is date of completion, date of invoice and date of payment received. There could be some change in rate possible. Date of completion is before budget. Date of invoice is after budget. In budget, there could be change in rate. Possible or not? So therefore, in between these three dates, if there is any change in rate, then rule 4 is applicable. Got it? In between which three dates? Date of completion, date of invoice and date of payment received. If there is any change in rate, rule 4 is applicable. In this also, if service is provided before change in rate, 4A will come. Service is provided after change in rate, 4B will come. See this. Say with effect from 1/4/2016, there is a change in rate. Say old rate is 12% and new rate is 14%. Okay, for example. Now, services might be provided here or services might be provided here, correct or not? Suppose if date of completion is here, that is before the date of change in rate, then it will be rule 4A. So what is rule 4A or when rule 4A is applicable? POT in case of services provided before change in rate or after change in rate? Before change in rate. Before change in rate. Now, totally 4 situations might arise. Totally 4 situations might arise. That is, you are raising invoice here, you are raising invoice here, you are receiving payment here. Possible? Then, you are receiving payment here, you are raising invoice here. Then, you are raising both invoice and payment here. And lastly, both invoice and payment may come here. Any other combination? Any other combination is possible in this? No. In these cases, you need to determine 2 things. That is, what is the point of taxation and what is the rate applicable. What is the point of taxation and what is the rate applicable. So please make note of this, we will see. What is the point of taxation, what is the rate. As it is, what you see, you make note. It's the same line gap, 1 line gap. Finished, make note of this. Okay, see this. Now, 4B says POT in case services provided after change in rate. Now listen. Here, what could be the intention of the government? Intention of the government is not to collect the new rate. Intention of the government is to collect the old rate because services were provided at the old rate. Got it? And in situation C, rule 4 will not apply. Why rule 4 will not apply in situation C? Because date of completion, what is the rate? 12%. Date of invoice, what is the rate? 12%. Date of payment also, what is the rate? 12%. Means there is no change in rate. Correct? When there is no change in rate between the 3 dates, rule 3 will only be applicable, but not rule 4. Got it? So in this situation C, which rule will be applicable? Rule 3. So POT shall be determined as per rule 3, but whatever the case may be, the rate will be always 12%. Correct or not? Whatever may be the point of taxation, or that could be date of invoice or date of completion or date of payment, whatever the case may be, rule 3 says 12% because the rate remains same. But in other cases, there is a change in rate between these 3 dates. You check. Change in rate. Change in rate. Correct or not? Here also there is a change in rate between 3 dates. Now in that case only rule 4A is applicable. Here or not? When rule 4 will come? When there is a change in rate between 3 dates. Why in case of situation C, Rule 4 is not applicable because in between these 3 dates the rate will remain same. Correct? Due to that reason. Now, what will be the point of taxation? Intention is to collect the old rate. So, here the point of taxation is date of invoice. Here the point of taxation is date of payment received. So, what will be the rate applicable? 12%. Here also 12%. But this is an exceptional case. They can't do anything. In this case, whichever is earlier. DOI or DOP, whichever is earlier. Whichever is earlier. Now, in this case, what will be the rate applicable? 14%. You understood? Now, how to remember this? How to remember this? Except to rule 3. Correct or not? Except to rule 3. Except to rule 3, POT shall be DOI or DOP, whichever is earlier. Correct or not? Please check. Except to rule 3, POT shall be DOI or DOP, whichever is earlier. If you want, you can check. See this. DOI or DOP, whichever is earlier. DOI only is point of taxation. DOP or DOI, whichever is earlier. So, DOP. Here also, whichever is earlier. So, except to rule 3. Except in this case, when rule 3 will come, if the rates remain same. Except to rule 3, what will be the point of taxation in case of rule 4A? Whichever is earlier, that is date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. Sir, what if invoice not given within 30 days? That concept itself is not applicable in rule 4. Got it? Then where, sir, this 30 days invoice concept is applicable only under rule 3? Means in this case, can we apply it? Yes. In this case, the 30 days invoice will come. Wherever rule 3 comes, the 30 days invoice will come. Got it? But rule 4, don't apply 30 days invoice and date of completion will never be the point of taxation. Got it? As per rule 4, A, date of completion will never be the point of taxation. Point of taxation will be either date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. Sir, what about this? Here rule 4 itself is not applicable. It is rule 3. You understood this? Tell me here. Yes, sir. Now, in these cases, I don't have any problem because I would have communicated to my service recipient old rate and I am also required to pay old rate. But in this case, the problem will arise. At the time when I have committed to provide the service, the rate was 12%. So I would have thought 12% and I would have fixed some money. And now there is a change in rate. And when I raise invoice, I need to raise invoice at 14%. Definitely service recipient will object. He will say, why the hell I need to pay 14%? Which you agreed that at the time that I will be paying only 12%. But you are telling now you have to pay 14%, I will not pay 14%, I will pay only 12%. Even though he pays 12%, but you need to pay 14% to government, correct or not? So, here you do not want to bring it as 14%, you want to make it as 12%. Tell me, what will you do? That's what loophole I am asking. Date of payment, you will change. No, you are not even fit for telling the loophole. When I am telling loophole, you are laughing. So, because, which means that next class onwards, I will tell subject and go. Not required, need or not required, I don't know. Because I could not understand this batch completely. Really, I could not understand because the previous batches and all, when I used to tell loophole, they used to ask in every point, tell me what is the loophole. And here you are laughing and you are taking it casually, then fine, no, this remember. So as per rule 4A, what is the point of taxation? Invoice or payment, whichever is earlier. Got it? Okay. Then rule 4B. You want that you should tell no. Then when I am discussing, you are just laughing means how will I know here? Got it? See here, date of payment you cannot shift. Why date of payment you cannot shift? Because date of payment has got a meaning. Date of credit into the bank account or date of entry into your books, whichever is earlier. Now you are having two alternatives. The payment is making at a later point of time, correct? Actually date of payment means what? Date of entry in the books or date of credit into the bank account, whichever is earlier. But that is not applicable in case of rule 4. Got it? For the purpose of rule 4, the meaning of date of payment is the date of credit in the bank account. Got it? What is the meaning of date of payment generally? Date of entry in the books or date of credit in the bank account, whichever is earlier. But for the purpose of rule 4 and rule 5, date of payment received means always date of credit in the bank account. Otherwise, there will be one loophole here. You tell me what is that loophole? I will pass a predated entry. Correct? And this DOP will come here. Whichever is earlier will be DOP. You understood? So that's the reason why they created that provision. What is that provision? That I will tell you after completion of rule 5. But I am writing here now. That is date of payment received. Date of payment received. Date of payment, wait here, wait. Don't write. Date of payment received for rule 4 and 5 is what? Date of credit in bank account. So, but not date of entry in the books, correct or not? Which means this is not possible. You can't do anything with date of payment. But using date of invoice, you can do something. What is it? Very good. So change the date and put the date of invoice in a prior date. So whichever is earlier will be the date of invoice and you need to pay at 12%. Understood? Then tell me when 4B is applicable. POT in case of services provided after change in rate. Please make note. Rule 4B, POT in case of services provided after change in rate. POT in case of services provided after change in rate. So the structure is same as that. That is, with effect from 1/4/2016, there is a change in rate. Old rate equals to 12% and new rate equals to 14%. POT and rate you need to know. Where the date of completion will come? After change in rate. Date of completion will come after change in rate. Here again those 4 situations. That is date of invoice, date of payment. Date of payment, date of invoice. Date of invoice and date of payment. Both date of invoice and date of payment. Tell me, here also in one case rule 3 is applicable. What is it? D. Because between all these 3 dates the rate remains same. Correct? So in this case rule 3 is applicable and which rate is applicable? 14%, because in between all these 3 dates the rate remains same, that is 14%. Then in other cases, see, the intention of the government is not to collect old rate. The intention of the government is to collect new rate because service is provided at the new rate. So what should be the point of taxation here? Date of payment. What should be the point of taxation here? Date of invoice. Here we can't keep anything, so that's why whichever is earlier. DOI or DOP, whichever is earlier. So in this case it will be 14%. In this case also it is 14%. But this is an exceptional case where government will be getting only 12%. Okay. Now How we can remember this? How we can remember this? If both comes together, if both falls before the change in rate, then whichever is earlier. Otherwise, whichever is later. Correct or not? Leave this rule 3. Except to rule 3, if both DY and DOP falls before change in rate, whichever is earlier. Otherwise, one falls before, one falls after means whichever is later. If both DOI and DOP falls before change in rate, if one falls before and other falls after, if one falls before and the other falls after, if both are before, whichever is earlier, correct or not? Whichever is earlier, if it is like this, then whichever is later. Except to rule 3, am I right? Whichever is earlier and whichever is later. Okay, so tell me rule 4 summary. 4A is applicable when service is provided before change in rate. POT except to rule 3 will be whichever is earlier. 4B comes only when service is provided after change in rate. Except to rule 3, if both DY and DOP falls before the change in rate, whichever is earlier. Otherwise, whichever is later. If one falls before and one falls after, whichever is later. Whichever is later means the rate, new rate of 14% will be applicable, correct or not? So now, tell me how to eliminate. In case of C, no problem. In case of C, no problem, because anyhow you are paying the old rate only. But in other case, you are paying 14%. So how will you manipulate? What is the loophole here? In the first case, you will send the date of payment here, not possible. Here, date of invoice, yes sir, date of invoice I will shift here. Then here, so I will shift the date of invoice here. Then this is normal. Here also what I will try to do, date of invoice I will shift here. But instead, there is one easy way. Convert the date of completion itself. Rule 4B will not come. Rule 4A only will come. You understood or not? How to convert the date of completion? Because here many things you have to do. How to convert the date of completion? Very simple. I am service provider. You are service recipient. Who will know when the service is completed? We both, correct? I will tell a lie, because of which you are getting 2% reduction in the tax. Won't you tell that lie? Yes. You will also accept, yes sir, service got completed last year itself sir, like that you will tell. Correct or not? Yes, so, who will prove that service got completed after 1/4/2016? So this itself I am changing here. So 4A will be applicable but not 4B. Understood or not? Yes, so this is about rule 4. When rule 4 is applicable? When there is a change in rate between these 3 dates. Understood or not? So with this we will stop for today. What is that we have discussed? Point of taxation rules, definitions we have seen, then rule 3 and rule 4. We have to do an illustration on rule 4 that we will see tomorrow, that is in the next class, and we will proceed. All these loopholes are for your understanding, not for exam.